There is a specific kind of tired that sleep cannot fix. You feel it deep in your bones. Your mind is constantly racing. You wake up every morning already exhausted by the demands of the day before you even step out of bed. Important note: before we begin, you must understand that this is timeless wisdom. Read the description below this video to aid you in achieving the optimum results. You walk through your life as if you are carrying the weight of everyone else. Someone makes a passing comment, and it ruins your entire afternoon. An unexpected text message sends your heart racing. You try to brush it off. You tell yourself that you do not care. But deep down, the frustration is burning a hole in your chest. The world feels loud. You feel entirely exposed to the chaos. You are operating like a puppet on a string. And every person you meet seems to hold a piece of that string. They pull it when they are angry. They pull it when they are careless. You spend your entire day reacting to their moods. You absorb their negative energy like a sponge and carry it home to your quiet moments. This is why you feel so drained when the sun goes down. You have read the books on setting boundaries. You have tried to distance yourself from the drama. You put on a brave face. You act tough. But the invisible sting of their judgment still manages to find you. It is a miserable way to exist. You are giving away your vital energy to people who do not even matter in the grand scheme of your life. Your peace is completely bankrupt. This is the reality of the drifter. The drifter is tossed around by the waves of circumstance. He allows the opinions of ordinary men to dictate his emotional state. He believes that the world is happening to him. But I want you to listen to me very carefully right now. Your exhaustion is not a lack of physical strength. It is a profound lack of mental order. You are bleeding out. You think your enemy is the toxic coworker or the ungrateful friend. You think your enemy is the unfair situation or the bad news on the television. You are looking in the wrong direction. The people who trigger you are just symptoms of a much deeper infection. They are merely reflecting a vulnerability that you have allowed to exist inside yourself. The real enemy is completely invisible. It is not the world outside that is breaking you down. It is the outdated software running quietly in the background of your own mind. Your subconscious has been programmed to be hypervigilant. It was taught long ago to scan the environment for threats. It looks for disapproval. It searches for rejection. And because it expects to find these things, it forces you to react to them. You do not have a boundary problem. You have a programming problem. Your mind is acting like a poorly trained guard dog that barks at every falling leaf. Every time you get defensive, you are obeying a script that was written years ago. You are reacting to the present moment using the fearful logic of the past. This is why trying to ignore the noise never seems to work for you. You cannot simply force yourself to not care. Willpower is finite. When you try to suppress your reactions, you are just pushing the stress deeper into your nervous system. You clench your jaw. You tighten your fists. You swallow the anger, but it stays inside your body like a slow-acting poison. The conscious mind says to let it go, but the subconscious mind refuses to release the grip. Understand this absolute truth. The universe works by law and not by clock. And one of the most ruthless laws is the law of mental magnetism. When you constantly react to negativity, you become a magnet for more chaos. Your emotional outbursts are sending a clear signal to the universe. You are declaring that you are easily manipulated, and the universe will gladly send you more manipulators. Every time you let something bother you, you surrender a piece of your sovereignty. You step down from your throne. You hand the crown to whoever upset you and allow them to rule your emotional state. Why would you give such immense power to people you do not even respect? Why would you let a passing stranger dictate the quality of your entire day? It is absolute madness. You must stop this hemorrhage of energy today. You cannot afford to lose another ounce of your power to the chaos of the masses. The world is full of miserable people who want to drag you down to their level. They want to see you lose your composure. They want to see you react. Because when you react, you validate their miserable existence. You prove that they have an impact on the world. Do not give them that satisfaction. You are not here to be a background character in their drama. You were put on this earth to be a sovereign commander. A sovereign commander does not engage in petty skirmishes. He does not lower his vibration to match the noise of the street. He operates from a place of unshakable elevation. He watches the storm rage, but he refuses to let the rain touch him. To achieve this state of cold calmness, you must fire the old contractor in your mind. You must rip out the wiring that demands a reaction. This is not about becoming numb or heartless. It is about becoming untouchable. It is about building a mental fortress so thick that the arrows of the outside world simply bounce off the walls. You must learn to witness without reacting. Imagine a life where nothing can penetrate your peace. Imagine walking into a room full of chaos and remaining perfectly still. Someone insults you, and you look at them with mild curiosity instead of anger. A plan falls apart, and you calmly pivot without a single spike in your heart rate. This is the ultimate form of power. The man who cannot be bothered is the man who cannot be controlled. Now, let me make this plain. There is a hidden law that governs the minds of the 1%. It is the law of cold calmness. Most men misunderstand this concept completely. They think that being calm means you are passive or weak, but true calmness is a highly aggressive mental posture. It is the ultimate shield against a chaotic world. You must understand the architecture of your own mind before you can defend it. Your attention is the most valuable currency in the universe. The entire world schemes to steal it from you. The news cycle wants your fear. The people around you want your validation. And the moment you react to them, you pay them with your vital life force. The drifter does not protect his currency. He spends his emotional energy on every minor inconvenience. Someone cuts him off in traffic, and his entire morning is ruined. He argues with strangers on the internet because his fragile ego demands to be heard. He is a consumer of chaos. He swallows the poison of the world and begs for more. This is the tragic existence of the drifter. His emotional state is a public utility that anyone can use and abuse. He believes that reacting loudly makes him look strong and formidable. He puffs out his chest and raises his voice to hide his internal panic. But the universe is not fooled by loud noises. The universe only respects strict discipline. A barking dog is usually terrified, and the man who constantly bristles at criticism is deeply insecure about his own worth. He needs the world to tell him that he is important. Because he lacks a definite chief aim, he uses drama to fill the empty space in his life. He is entirely hollow inside. He is a slave to external validation. But the opposite is also true. The Creator operates on a completely different frequency. The Creator does not consume chaos because he is too busy building his empire. He is the sovereign commander of his reality. When the storm hits, he does not yell at the wind. He simply adjusts his sails and continues moving forward in total silence. Cold calmness is the hallmark of the Creator. It is a calculated and deliberate indifference to anything that does not serve the vision. You must cultivate this exact indifference if you want to rise above the masses. When someone insults you, you do not retaliate. You look at them as if they are speaking a completely foreign language. You do not ignore them because you are afraid of conflict. You ignore them because their opinion holds absolutely zero market value. Why would a king argue with a peasant about how to run the kingdom? It makes no logical sense. The Creator protects his focus with ruthless aggression and leaves the petty arguments to the peasants. Every time you refuse to react, you conserve a massive amount of mental energy. While the drifter is exhausted by his own temper tantrums, the Creator is quietly stockpiling his power. He watches the drama unfold without ever stepping onto the stage. He is a silent observer who gathers data instead of catching feelings. He stays perfectly detached. Think of it this way. Chaos is just unrefined energy. The drifter lets this raw energy burn his house down. But the Creator builds a mental turbine to capture that exact same energy. He absorbs the friction and the hatred of the world, and then he converts that dark energy into fuel for his own massive ambitions. He turns poison into power. This is the secret mechanism of the unstoppable force. When people doubt him, he does not argue. He uses their doubt to sharpen his own determination. When circumstances become difficult, he does not complain about the unfairness of life. He uses the difficulty to test the structural integrity of his own discipline. Nothing is ever wasted. You must begin to treat every annoyance as a test of your sovereign command. The annoying coworker is not a threat to your peace. He is simply a training dummy for your new emotional discipline. The sudden financial setback is not a tragedy. It is an opportunity to prove that you can maintain your royal composure under heavy fire. The universe works by law, and the law states that whatever you resist will persist. When you fight against the chaos, you give it form and substance. You make it real by acknowledging it with your anger. But when you look at the chaos with dead eyes and a flat heart, it loses all of its power over you. It simply dissolves into nothingness. You starve the negativity by withdrawing your attention from it. This requires a massive shift in your worldview. You must decide that your internal weather is independent of the external climate. It can be raining fire outside, but inside your mind, the temperature remains perfectly cool. You dictate the terms of your own reality. The drifter hates the man who cannot be bothered. It drives the weak-minded crazy when they cannot provoke a reaction out of you. They will push harder. They will say crueler things to find your breaking point. But you will remain as silent and immovable as a mountain. You will let them exhaust themselves against your heavy stone walls. You are no longer participating in their low-frequency games. You have severed the invisible strings that used to control your moods. You are the mental gatekeeper, and you have permanently closed the door to unnecessary drama. The noise of the crowd is slowly fading into the background. You are finally beginning to hear your own thoughts clearly. But knowing this law is only the first step. You might still doubt whether it is practically possible to maintain this cold calmness during a real crisis. You might think that human biology makes emotional reactions inevitable. That is the final lie of the drifter. Let us look to the evidence of how the Titans shattered that specific illusion. Let us look at the raw science of human panic. You might believe that your anger is a completely natural response to disrespect. You think you are defending your honor when you shout back at the world. But modern neuroscience reveals a much darker truth, and it shows that your reactions are rarely a conscious choice. You are being hijacked by your own biology. Deep inside your brain sits a tiny structure called the amygdala. It is the ancient alarm system of your nervous system. It was designed to keep you alive in a primitive and dangerous world, constantly scanning the horizon for predators. When it perceives a threat, it floods your body with stress hormones. It completely shuts down your logical mind to force an immediate physical reaction. The drifter lives his entire life under the tyranny of this ancient alarm. When a stranger insults him, his amygdala registers it as a lethal physical threat. His heart races, his vision narrows. He lashes out violently because his primitive brain literally believes he is fighting for his survival. He is a prisoner to a chemical reaction he does not understand. But the Creator understands this biological trap. He refuses to let a primitive gland dictate the future of his empire. When chaos strikes, he intentionally inserts a wedge of time between the trigger and his final response. He takes a deep breath. He forces the electrical signal to travel past the amygdala and into the prefrontal cortex. That is where true logic resides. By delaying his reaction, the Creator regains total sovereign command over his body. He overrides the animal instinct and responds with calculated precision. This is not just a modern scientific theory. It is the exact mental protocol used by the greatest titans in human history to maintain their power. Let us look to the supreme example of Andrew Carnegie during his darkest hour. Carnegie built the largest steel empire the world had ever seen, but his path was paved with massive financial panics and brutal labor strikes. During the infamous economic crash of 1893, countless banks collapsed overnight. Powerful men threw themselves out of windows in pure despair while their life savings vanished. The entire business world was consumed by blind panic. Men came rushing into Carnegie's office screaming about the sudden collapse. They begged him to sell his assets. They warned him that absolutely everything was lost. But Carnegie did not flinch. He did not raise his voice. He sat firmly behind his heavy wooden desk in absolute silence. He looked at the terrified men with a gaze of cold and calculating calmness. The weak men thought his silence was a sign of shock. They mistook his stillness for total surrender. But here is the truth no one tells you about that specific day. Carnegie was not in shock. He was intentionally starving the panic because he knew that reacting to the chaos would only multiply the destruction. His silence was the ultimate display of absolute dominion. While his rivals panicked and sold their companies for pennies, Carnegie quietly bought out his competitors. He absorbed their collective fear and turned it into massive wealth. He acted as if the massive economic storm was merely a light drizzle. Because he controlled his internal environment, he eventually controlled the entire American steel industry. He was completely unstoppable. This is the undeniable evidence of the law in heavy action. You are not dealing with economic collapses of that massive scale. You are losing your mind over a rude email. You are sacrificing your precious focus because someone simply cut in line at the local coffee shop. Look at the ridiculous contrast between you and the Titan. You are allowing microscopic annoyances to derail your entire destiny. You must hold yourself to a much higher mental standard. If a Titan can watch his fortune threaten to burn and remain perfectly still, you can certainly survive a minor inconvenience. Your amygdala will try to convince you that the sky is falling. It will scream for a reaction. But you are the mental gatekeeper. You must strictly deny the panic entry into your sacred mind. You must realize that chaos is essentially harmless unless you explicitly give it permission to hurt you. A negative comment is just a vibration of sound waves in the air. A hostile email is just a collection of pixels on a glowing screen. They have zero physical power over you. They only gain strength when you feed them with your own emotional distress. Stop feeding them today. You think you are losing your edge by staying quiet. The world tells you that you must fight back to forcefully prove your strength. But true power never has to explain itself to anyone. A king does not shout to prove he is the actual king. When you act as if nothing bothers you, you instantly elevate yourself above the desperate attacker. You render their weapons completely useless. This is how you rapidly reclaim your status as the powerful creator. You build an invisible shield of cold calmness around your spirit. You let the world rage and burn outside. But inside your mind, the temperature is always kept under your strict and unyielding control. You become an unmovable mountain in the face of trivial human drama. You become a terrifying force of nature. Knowing the science is simply not enough to save you. Hearing the stories of great men will not rescue you when the emotional trigger actually happens. Your subconscious mind is deeply stubborn. It has practiced the toxic art of overreacting for decades. You cannot simply wish the old programming away with a few positive thoughts. You must aggressively overwrite it with a new and unbreakable mental architecture. How do you actually execute this difficult transformation? How do you permanently silence the alarm bells in your brain when everything goes entirely wrong? How do you train yourself to look at a disaster and feel absolutely nothing? The answer lies in a specific daily practice. You must begin a rigorous process of cosmic housekeeping to clean the infected roots of your mind. Let us make this highly practical. You cannot simply wish your way into a state of absolute power. The drifter hopes that the world will become gentler. The creator aggressively engineers his own peace. You must establish strict boundaries for your mind. Your brain is a sacred temple, and right now you are letting filthy animals track mud across your floor while you watch your empire crumble. You must begin with a brutal process called cosmic housekeeping. This is the ruthless elimination of anything that disturbs your focus. Look at the media you consume. Look at the loud conversations you tolerate. You are voluntarily drinking poison from strangers, and then you wonder why you feel sick all the time. A sovereign commander does not allow garbage into his kingdom. Cut the toxic sources immediately. Unfollow the accounts that thrive on constant outrage. Stop engaging in petty gossip. You might lose a few friends during this harsh process. But the truth is that the people you lose were never building an empire with you anyway, because they were simply using your energy to survive their own miserable existence. Once you clear the external noise, you must master the physical protocol. This is the ancient technique of acting as if you are completely untouchable. When the storm hits and the world tries to break you, your biology will immediately try to force a violent reaction out of your body. Your heart will race fast, your jaw will tighten immediately. In that exact moment, you must issue a physical command to your nervous system to stand down. Relax your jaw. Drop your shoulders completely. Look at the chaos with absolutely dead eyes. Do not frown. Do not smile to ease the tension. Maintain a face of cold stone. When you forcefully command your body to remain perfectly still, your frantic mind has no other choice but to follow the physical lead and surrender to the silence. You act as if nothing bothers you until it becomes your biological reality. Someone raises their voice at you in anger. You do not raise your voice to match their weak frequency. You actually lower your volume. You speak slowly. You speak softly. This aggressive calmness will completely disarm your opponent. They expect a fight. They crave the validation of your anger. When you give them absolutely nothing but heavy and unyielding silence, their chaotic energy will simply collapse under the weight of your tremendous self-control. You are acting as a phantom in the wind. The swords of the world pass right through you without leaving a single scratch. You observe the meaningless drama of the masses as if you are watching a poorly written movie, remaining completely detached from the final emotional outcome. This is not arrogance. This is the ultimate preservation of your vital life force. You simply refuse to bleed for them. But the daytime protocol is entirely useless without the night ritual. Your subconscious is a tireless contractor. It builds exactly what you instruct it to before you fall asleep. The drifter falls asleep worrying about his bills and his enemies. He hands the contractor a dangerous blueprint of pure fear, and his mind spends the next 8 hours quietly building a reality of absolute panic for him to wake up in. You will no longer commit this mental sabotage. You are a mental gatekeeper. From this night forward, you will establish a mandatory 15-minute ritual of total silence before sleep to wash away the dirt of the day. No glowing screens, no loud music, no conversations about the problems of the day. You will sit in the dark and strip away the heavy armor you wore during the battle. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply into your chest. I want you to consciously forgive the weak people who annoyed you today, not because they deserve your mercy, but because you refuse to carry their dirty luggage into your tomorrow. You are cutting the invisible cords that attach your energy to their pathetic little dramas. Release the incompetent coworker. Release the rude stranger. Let them fade completely into the blackness of the night. Now, you must fill that empty space with your definite chief aim. See yourself standing tall inside your empire. Feel the solid ground beneath your feet. Command your tireless subconscious to aggressively seek out massive opportunities while your physical body finally rests in peace for the night. Say this aloud in the quiet of your room. I am the absolute master of my fate. I am the architect of my reality. No external force can disturb my inner kingdom. Speak these words not as a desperate wish, but as a sovereign decree. Let the powerful vibration of your own commanding voice rewrite the ancient and useless fears that have been hiding deep inside the architecture of your brain. You are reprogramming your entire existence. When you wake up the next morning, you will feel a strange sensation. The heavy weight on your chest will be gone. The racing thoughts will be entirely silent. You will step out of bed with the calm and unshakable certainty of a mighty king who is quietly inspecting his massive domain. This is the immediate reward of strict mental discipline. You have finally taken the steering wheel from the hands of fear. The masses will never understand this quiet power. They will call you cold. They will say that you have changed and that you no longer care, but you must let them talk while you continue to build. The opinions of sheep do not concern the lion. You have graduated from the exhausting school of emotional reactivity. You are now playing a completely higher game. This is the defining trait of the 1%. They absolutely refuse to react to the noisy world, and instead they forcefully demand that the world adjust to their unshakable presence. You have heard the law. You have been given the tools. But there is a massive difference between holding a weapon and having the courage to actually use it. The drifter will listen to this lesson and do absolutely nothing. He will nod his head. He will feel a burst of fake motivation. And tomorrow morning, he will go right back to complaining. He will let the next minor inconvenience completely ruin his day because his fragile ego is deeply addicted to the familiar comfort of playing the helpless victim. The Creator makes a different choice entirely. You are standing at a violent crossroads today. The old version of you is begging to stay alive. That weak version wants to keep reacting to the noisy world, and it wants to keep fighting petty battles with people who simply do not matter in the end. But you must brutally execute that version of yourself right now. You must execute the drifter within your own mind. You cannot carry that fragile ego into the massive empire you are working so hard to build. A king who throws a tantrum every time it rains is not a king at all. He is just a frightened child, wearing a very heavy golden crown. Are you going to remain a frightened child, or are you going to claim your throne? Look back at all the vital energy you have wasted over the years. Think about the beautiful days you completely ruined because you let a foolish comment break your intense focus. You traded your sacred peace for a fleeting moment of useless anger. It was a terrible transaction. You essentially sold your massive potential to buy a very small cup of bitter resentment. Every time you lose your temper, you are paying a massive tax to the weak. You are letting people who have achieved absolutely nothing dictate the quality of your daily existence. It is the most humiliating form of mental slavery. You are working incredibly hard to build a kingdom, but you leave the front gates wide open for any wandering fool to walk inside and start a fire. You must lock those heavy steel gates tonight. You must station a ruthless guard at the front door of your mind. If a passing thought does not bring you wealth or peace, it is immediately denied entry. If a person brings you nothing but chaotic drama, they are permanently exiled from your physical presence. You must become incredibly strict with your vital energy right now. The world will test this new discipline tomorrow. Someone will cut you off in heavy traffic. A business project will suddenly fail without any warning. A person you trusted will speak poorly of you behind your back. Your blood will get hot. Your ancient biology will scream at you to forcefully defend your honor. That is the exact moment your entire destiny is decided. Will you break under the pressure, or will you remain perfectly cold? You will remain cold. You will look at the loud chaos and feel absolutely nothing. You will breathe slowly into your chest and let the toxic energy pass right through your body. The world is waiting to see if you are truly serious about this evolution. You must forcefully prove that your mind is an iron fortress. People will attempt to test your new boundaries immediately. They will aggressively poke at your old wounds to see if you still bleed for them. They will fight to pull you back down into the familiar mud of emotional reactions. But you will look at them with the calm pity of a powerful king watching a weak peasant struggle in the dirt. You will offer them absolutely nothing. This silent power will make you a literal magnet for massive success. When you finally stop reacting to the small things, your mind suddenly has the immense bandwidth to focus entirely on the big things. Money and massive opportunity are deeply attracted to highly stable environments. Wealth runs away from chaotic minds, but it gladly flows into the hands of a disciplined creator. This is not a temporary phase. This is a permanent rewiring of your entire spiritual architecture. From this exact moment forward, you act independently of cheap motivation. You do not wait to feel calm before you act calm. You enforce the calmness through your own sheer will. You are an unstoppable force of nature, and the loud noise of the masses simply bends entirely around you. Imagine the terrifying power of a man who simply cannot be provoked. Imagine the respect you command when you meet screaming chaos with a deafening silence. Your enemies will shrink away in pure fear. Your allies will look to you as an unshakable pillar of strength in the dark. This is the ultimate reward of the sovereign commander. You become utterly undeniable in every single room. You did not click this video by pure accident today. You came here as a man completely exhausted by the constant drift. You were deeply tired of playing the helpless victim to the unpredictable circumstances of your life. But today you have remembered exactly who you are. You are the sole architect of your reality, and the loud world has no choice but to bow down to your discipline. The time for aimless drifting is officially over. You have heard the unforgiving law of absolute mental dominion. You now know that every excuse you have ever made was nothing but a fragile shadow. Tonight, as you close your eyes, you must make a final choice. Will you return to the exhausting chaos, or will you step into the quiet power of the 1%? This knowledge is incredibly heavy. It will not serve you if you hear it only once and let it fade into the noise of tomorrow. The stubborn subconscious requires massive repetition to build an entirely new world. Therefore, I command you to listen to this exact lesson again and again. Play it as you sleep to force the new programming deep into the roots of your brain. If you are truly ready to command your destiny, seal your decision right now. Write your 90-day commitment in the comments below. Declare that you are officially done reacting to the meaningless noise of the crowd. Let those written words be the sacred contract you sign with the universe today. Do not simply think it. You must physically bring your vow into reality. Make these ancient principles the only voice you tolerate in your head. Subscribe to this channel and join the elite ranks of those who absolutely refuse to drift. Share this message with the one person who is building a massive empire alongside you. Do not let them fight the chaos alone. Equip them with the exact same mental armor you just put on today. Your new life officially begins in this exact moment. Stand up tall. Drop your heavy shoulders immediately. Face the loud world with cold calmness and act as if nothing bothers you. You are the master of your magnificent fate. You are the captain of your soul. Never again let a negative thought decide your future.